Hey everybody, this is Flavio Romeo, and on this episode of the Towncast, we had the opportunity of talking to Bob Major, who you may know better as Odd Job Bob. And he talks about how he went from Wall Street to Main Street to your street, just doing a lot of different odd jobs, putting together barbecues, putting together furniture, and just a great story. All right, enjoy the episode, everybody. All right, everybody, so here we are. We're at downtown Glen Rock, right on Rock Road, and we are in the new space of the Glen Rock Inn. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures. It's gorgeous. They do a lot of private parties here, anniversaries, weddings, whatever you want. It's a gorgeous space, but that's not why we're here. We're here because we've got Bob Major. You guys may know him as Odd Job Bob.
That's right.
Bob, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
This
Thank
is
you for
so
having
cool.
me.
Yeah, how did you even come up with the name?
I looked at different names, and then my kids loved the Odd Job Bob name.
Yeah.
So they said, you got to take that
You
one.
got to
So
take
that's what
it.
I did.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
So if you don't know who Odd Job Bob is, and I'm going to let you tell all the things that you do.
Sure.
But in a nutshell, he does the jobs, the little jobs that people just either they don't know how to do, they don't want to do,
Right.
and it's an inconvenience, and he can get it done just like that.
That's right.
All right. So talk a little bit about some of the jobs that you've
Yeah,
worked
well,
on.
I do jobs. I do stuff like trampolines, putting up pictures.
Bob, you
Yeah,
told me that.
trampoline Bob. All sorts of small fixes around the house, like doorknobs and pictures and putting together furniture and things like that. That you're not going to get a contractor in.
Yeah.
You get a contractor in the house.
$250 just to walk in the
Yeah,
door.
exactly.
Yeah, so it's those kind of jobs, and it's also, I mean, if you're a single woman, single mom, single dad,
Right.
Single guy, and you just don't have the time,
Right.
It's a lot of those jobs, putting up shelves, putting up,
Exactly.
you get something delivered from Wayfair or
Do a lot of that.
you do, right?
A lot of that.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your background. Did you grow up here in Jersey?
No, I grew up in Queens, actually, in the shadow of Kennedy Airport.
Oh, really? How was that?
It was unbelievable. But we'd be sitting in the backyard, and all conversation had to stop as the plane came over the house, because you could basically see the people in the windows. They came over so
It was
low.
that close.
We thought it was going to take the roof off sometimes. We were probably a mile away. And it was so loud and so
So
ridiculous.
it's like you see in the movies.
Just like you see, like in a Woody Allen movie. You know,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
lived under the L. It was
Yeah.
like we lived under the plane at the airport.
Now, do you remember the, was it the Lufthansa heist? Because that
Sure.
you do remember that.
I
That
was a teenager. I remember hearing about
That
it.
was huge in that area.
That was right there. And when I see the Goodfellas, that the diner they hung out at, that was called that's the Airport City Diner. That was right there.
Yeah.
I knew about that. There was a bar where they found some bones buried in the basement. I hadn't been in that place, but I know where it was.
Was that not the Bamboo Lounge?
I forget the name of the place.
Wow.
And Howard Beach was right
Yeah.
the next town over. John Gotti Land, and
Yeah, and they all hung out there.
oh, unbelievable. Yeah.
So you grew up, and how long were you in Queens?
Oh, until I was about 25, something like
Were you a
that.
Mets fan or a Yankees fan?
Yankees fan. And all my friends would say to me,
See, now we can
Yeah.
continue.
and all my friends would say, "What the hell is wrong with you? You're living here in
Queens
Queens,
boy."
at Shea Stadium, And I said, well, I like the Yankees.
Yeah. They win more.
Yeah, and we actually went to more Mets games growing up because Yankee Stadium is
That's
so
close.
far away.
Yeah.
And but I was a Yankee fan. All my friends were Met fans.
Yeah. So now, are you Mets? Are you Yankees Yankees Jets? Yankees Giants?
Yankees Giants.
Yankees
Has
Giants.
to be
see?
Giants.
Have to.
Giants
If
Stadium.
you're a
You gotta-
Yankee fan,
you have to be. Yeah, it's funny.
All right, so you're growing up in Queens,
Yeah.
and what happened after high school, when you graduated high school?
I went to St. John's University. My parents never went to college.
Okay.
So I went to Malloy, which is in Queens. It's an all-boys school, big sports school. They had, good basketball program, won state championships, all that stuff. And didn't know where to go to college. My parents had no idea. So, why did I go to St. John's? Because we used to play some of our basketball games there, and I liked the St. John's basketball team, so I went there.
It's a good reason.
And, now it's funny. You see all the kids, my daughter included, they all graduated high school, and they applied to like 10 schools or 12 schools in the safety school.
Right.
I applied to St. John's.
That's it.
And I never forget, one of the brothers who taught at my school said to me, "What are you going to do if you don't get in?" I looked at him and said, "I don't know."
See, and after
That
all
was
that,
it.
after all that schooling, you could have started this at a very young age.
Exactly.
You went to St. John's, and what did you study? Did you know what you
Marketing,
wanted? Oh,
which I'm
okay.
using now. I hadn't used in the entire 38 years I was working. And now I'm using it when I do my Facebook ads and my Instagram ads, and everybody seems to like them. Everybody gets a kick out of
Well,
it.
just the name alone.
Yeah.
That's marketing right there.
Yeah, exactly.
So you didn't you went to marketing. So where'd you
Right.
go and end up after school, after college?
After college, I worked 1 year at an insurance place, which I hated the job. It was like maybe 11 months. And then my father-in-law knew this woman who had a boyfriend who worked at the American Stock Exchange, and I wanted to get into Wall Street.
Oh, really?
And he said, "Why don't you talk to this guy?" So I went and I talked to him, and he got me in a position called reporter, which is just the basic thing. We just marking cards to get the sales up on the tape. There's nothing, technical at that time. It was just
Right. Yeah, everything's
pencil
right.
on a card,
Yeah.
and you're in a crowd, and people are calling your names, and I'll kill you if you don't get that sale right. And
Really?
It's like, oh, it was unbelievable.
You were on the floor.
On the floor, I was on the floor for 18 years. Yeah.
How old were you when you started there?
Oh, I was what 20, 22, 23,
Was that
something like that.
like
It was shell shock.
Yeah,
I always
absolutely.
tell people I went to St. Anthony Padua Grammar School. I went to Archbishop Malloy High School. I went to St. John's University, and then I end up on the floor
you
of
got
the
thrown
American
into
Stock
hell.
Exchange. And the first day I'm there, I'm like, you can't say that to a woman. and then I was shocked at what the guy was calling her, and the next thing I was even more shocked at what she said back to him. It was worse.
really brokers just picked
Brokers, yeah, unbelievable. Yeah.
Wow.
It was quite shell shock. The first day we were down there, we were the first college class to get down there. First college training program. So we get down on the floor, and it was shocking to me because all these guys, they were it was the good old boys. They were from Brooklyn and Queens, and
Very few
the
women.
Italian, hardly any. The Italian guys got hired by the Italian guys. The Irish guys got hired by the Irish guys. The Jewish guys got hired by the Jewish guys. So there was all these little camps in there.
Yeah.
So we walk onto the floor, and the first thing you hear is from these guys, hey, college boy, but you can't add tree-eighths and tree-eighths. And say, tree-eighths and tree-eighths? What are you
Tree-eighths.
talking about? That's when it was all fractions. And that's the type of place it was.
Yeah, so explain it, because I remember you were telling me about
Yeah.
that. They didn't have decimals.
There were no decimals. No, decimals came about, I guess, not too long ago, because I was at my second job after 18 years when they did decimals. So I'd say, I don't know, maybe 2010 or something like that. I don't really remember the exact year, but I was at Bloomberg at the time, no longer at the exchange. Was off the exchange for a long time.
Because when you see the ticker, it's
Yeah.
it's 5 1/4, 5 3/8,
Oh, yeah.
5 1/2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was never decimal.
No, and now it's 25.01.
Right.
Pennies.
And then you got to figure out what that is.
Exactly.
So you ended up going to Bloomberg.
Yes.
Mike Bloomberg's
After 18 years, yes. And I worked there for 18 years. I was, there was a whole different ballgame because when I got in there, it went from the tree-eighths and hey, college guy.
To slide rules and
To Bloomberg, yeah. To Bloomberg. And I sit into my meeting on the first day, and I'm in there with programmers who had PhDs and engineering degrees.
Wow.
And these guys, some of the guys went to Harvard, Carnegie Mellon, all that. And I had the same reaction I had when I got to the American Stock
it was
Exchange.
a different kind of shell shock.
Yeah, different. And this time was like, what am I doing here? When we have this meeting, and I'm sitting there like, I have no idea what these guys are talking about.
Wow. Really?
After a while, you get
get
it.
into it,
you get to know the different personalities, and I figured it out. But I
you were
did
there for
very
18
well.
years.
18 years there.
So you spent, 36 years total?
38 years in the city, basically.
And then you decided, that's it, I'm done.
No, I actually, Mike Bloomberg closed it. We were a brokerage, my division.
Ah, okay.
So they were only, even though he's got like 20,000 employees, my division was maybe 225, and we were in New York, Asia, and London. So he closed it because the brokerage is risky. Right. And I can understand that. So he closed it. We all got nice packages, and I got laid off with the rest of the gang. And I came home, I said to my wife, that's it, I'm done.
Nice.
I'm
Soft
not
landing with
commuting.
the parachute.
That's it. I'm not commuting to the city anymore.
Were you living in
Right here, Glen Rock.
in Glen Rock? So when did you move to Glen Rock?
Glen Rock in 99.
Okay.
Before that, we were in Fairlawn for 11 years.
All right. So
we
you're
were
an
in Teaneck for like a year
you're
and a
Bergen
half.
County boy for a long
Yeah,
time.
since 85 we were in Bergen County.
All right.
Yeah.
So what made you pick Glen Rock?
Oh, Glen Rock, because my kids went to the Glen Rock Co-op when we were in Fairlawn. And my wife kept bugging me to go to Glen Rock, and I kept saying, I don't want to go to Glen Rock. There's high taxes.
Yeah.
And she just kept bugging me, and finally I said, okay, we'll go look at a house in Glen Rock.
Yeah,
And
never
we ended up,
looked
we looked at a house, and We loved it.
That was it.
Yeah,
it's
that was
great.
it.
It's a great.
It's a
town.
great town.
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking of going anyplace else
Plus,
right
you're
now.
working in the city. You've got 2 trains you can choose
Absolutely.
from.
And the bus.
And the bus,
Yeah,
of
I even though I
course.
hate the bus, but
Yeah.
it's a great town to commute from.
So when did you officially retire from the whole thing?
That was 2018
Okay.
is when
So just
that's the year I
pre-pandemic.
got laid off. 2019 is when I decided to start my business.
So let's
And-
talk about that. So
yeah.
2019 rolls around.
Yeah.
You're not traveling in the city
Nope.
anymore.
No.
You're like, what do I want to do? Like, what made you get
I
into
always
this?
wanted to start my own business. So one of the things I said
I
is,
feel like that's it. Because
yeah.
I just had interviewed another woman who started Rock Clay
oh yeah, sure,
and Anna Carey,
Right.
and it is. I started my own business in 2014.
Right, I
It is
remember you
it is a
telling me.
dream.
it is.
As my dad did it,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad who barely spoke English for his entire life.
Wow.
And I'm like, if he can do it, I can do it.
Exactly.
And anybody can do it.
Exactly.
It's just trying to find your niche and
That's right.
what it is you want to do. So here you're going to start your own business.
Yeah.
What made you pick doing
Well,
these?
I'm thinking, what can I do with that minimal investment? And I walk into my garage one day, I see all the tools. I know I'm handy. I'm thinking, to myself, I don't have to buy any tools. I can
Right.
use my car. What do I have to do? So I went online. I'm like, I guess I have to get an LLC because I got to protect myself. So I went and I got an LLC. And then I look online, do you need a handyman license? First I thought we didn't need it. And then I researched online and said, you do need it. So when I applied, and
So you are officially licensed.
yes.
Yeah.
So I got my license. And then I had no clients. I didn't know how to price things. So what am I going to do now? So then I went on Facebook. I put up a funny ad. I don't even remember what it was. And somebody called me. And I went and I changed the toilet seat for him or something.
Right.
And somebody else called me. I did some other minor job. I don't remember. Maybe hung a shelf or something. And then after the first week, I realized, what the hell am I doing? Because I was coming home like less than $100 in my pocket. And I'm working 6, 7 hours. The thing is, I didn't know how to price anything.
Right.
So I feel bad. I'm putting a toilet seat in for this guy. What can I charge him? But I
Yeah.
wasn't charging the market rate.
Right.
So then
At least, charge them what's fair.
the fair rate,
For
right?
you,
So
too.
I was thinking like I'm embarrassed to ask this guy for a certain amount of money to change a toilet seat, but I had to get over that.
Yeah.
And then I started looking online, like what do people get to put up blinds? What do they do? And then I started seeing these prices. I'm like, wow, it's a lot more than I'm charging.
Yeah.
So then I got into the realistic pricing,
Right.
and then before you know, it was just like word of mouth.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the jobs. You're talking about trampolines because I know
Yeah.
trampolines is. I put mine together years ago.
Yeah.
And it's
No,
a
I'm like
process.
I'm an expert on it now. I can do it with my eyes
Trampoline
closed.
Bob.
Yeah.
So talk about some of the other projects because you mentioned blinds. That's another one of those
Blinds
things. It's
I
just
put
a pain
up.
in the neck.
Yeah, but it's not really, if you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, that's just it.
Curtain rods, I do a lot of those. Hanging pictures on the wall, tons of that stuff.
Yeah.
And
Doing it level and doing it.
level and straight, and a lot of measuring and that sort of thing.
Shelving.
Furniture putting together is a big thing.
Yeah.
And
I think people don't realize when they see the picture on
Yeah.
on Wayfair, or they go to
Oh, yeah.
IKEA, and all of a sudden they get a flat box that's
yeah.
like this, and they open it up, and there are 1,000
right,
parts.
especially IKEA.
Yeah.
IKEA, you open the box, you see all the parts, but then when you open the hardware box,
Yeah.
and there are 1,000 screws in there.
Yeah, you get an A,
Yeah.
B,
As
C,
a matter of
A.
fact, I do it, but I hate IKEA. Wayfair is great. These other companies are great. I'll do IKEA, but I hate it. At one point, I even put up a post that got a lot of reaction from people, and I put in that IKEA and I are officially divorced. Because I had a particularly bad day with putting together like 2 IKEA dressers, and it took me so long.
Yeah.
And that's a funny story too. One of the very first jobs I did was putting together 3 IKEA armoires in a girl's bedroom that was in the basement of a house. Ooh. She had like her own apartment down there.
Right.
And the mother got her these 3 IKEA armoires, and there were 3 doors on them. The middle door was a mirror. First one, I was there for 7 hours. I came home, my wife says, what happened to you? The guy who came in, he came home from work and he says to me, I feel so bad for you. He said, I'm so happy. I'm so happy you're here, though, because I would have had to put these together, and there's no way I wanted to put these together.
Yeah.
So the first one, if you know IKEA, all the parts look the same.
Yeah.
A lot of the same parts.
Oh,
so
yeah.
there was this thin bar, and there were like 4 of them. So I put the whole thing together. Well, not the whole thing, about 3/4 of it together. And I'm maybe 75% done. And I noticed, in the instructions it says to look for the bar with the hole in it.
Oh no.
Just one bar. It had a hole in one side for some peg maybe for the door.
Oh no.
And I'm looking, where's this piece? I'm looking in the box. There's another piece, but it doesn't have the hole. And sure enough, it's already assembled.
You already
because I had no idea.
no.
I had to take almost the whole thing apart to get
Just to
to
get
this
the
thing,
bar.
to get it out. And so that set me back. Of course, the other two went up quicker because I knew from my mistake in the first one. So that was one of my first jobs. So now I know
it's occupational hazard.
Yeah, with IKEA, you have to look very carefully at everything. You know.
And you have to skip ahead.
Yeah, skip ahead.
Just
right.
make sure
right,
that
right.
whatever you
and I always
need
look
is
at all the
there.
turn it all over, look at all four sides. You know, the whole
That's great.
It's crazy.
And I saw a friend of mine that you worked on his fire pit.
Yes.
You know, and a lot of the things you kind of take it for granted. It's like, well, I could do this, but then you get to a certain point. It's like, if I do this wrong, you know, there's going to be worse consequences.
Yeah, exactly. Like blowing up the neighborhood.
That's for one, as an example.
That was what he was worried about.
You got propane. Yeah,
exactly.
You got propane. Absolutely. Yeah. So you do projects indoors. You do projects outdoors. Yes. And I got to tell you, you know, the whole way I found your name was just people raving about your work.
Thank you.
And like you said, you know, this the kind of niche that you're in, it is about word of mouth.
It is, really is.
You're there on time. You get the work done. You're fair, and all of a sudden people come over. It's oh, this is beautiful. Yeah, you know, I had Bob. Odd Job Bob put this together for me, and he did a great job. And so do you feel that? Do you feel that when you ask people, hey, how'd you get my name?
I'd say more than 50% tell me they got it from somebody else.
Yeah.
And here's a funny thing also is like I'm in 11 different groups on Facebook, different towns, Wyckoff, Glenrock, whatever. Like Franklin Lakes doesn't let you in unless you're a resident there, and some of the other towns don't.
Right.
So I'll get calls from people, and they say, I'm in, the Montvale Moms and Dads group, and I got your name there. I'm not in the Montvale Moms and Dads group. So I said, well, how did you get my name in that group? And they say, oh, so-and-so referred me. I'm thinking to myself, who referred you? And they tell me the name. I have no idea who this person is.
Yeah.
And it's because they got my name from someone else who saw me in another group, and it's just kind of mushroomed.
Yeah. So talk about some of the towns that you're in.
Oh, that I'll do working? I've gone up as far as Montvale.
Okay.
Rivervale. I do a lot of work around here. Glenrock, Ridgewood, Midland Park, Wyckoff. That's my main. Hawthorne. Yeah. That's my main.
Oh, you cross over to Passaic County. Look at you.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Well, basically Hawthorne. That's about it. At Fairlawn, I do some work. You know, I don't get as much traction in there, but it's amazing. Franklin Lakes, recently.
Okay. What kind of jobs up there?
Same thing. Hanging pictures, putting together furniture.
Yeah.
You know, fire pits, whatever.
Yeah.
Heaters. During the pandemic, I put together a ton of heaters.
All those outdoor heaters?
Matter of fact, I put together, I think it was 5 of them for Evan here at the Glenrock.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. For right outside.
Yeah, for right outside.
Yes,
because nobody's eating inside.
Right.
During the pandemic, I did a lot of that for all different people because everybody was having their Thanksgivings outside, and they called me to put the heater in.
Well, and that's the thing. It's not, you know, it's not so much that people may not know how to do it because when you read the instructions, you know, step by step, you take your time. It's the time.
Absolutely.
So you're working full time. I mean, here you got a restaurant to run.
Right.
Or you're working full time. Your spouse is working. Nobody's around. Meanwhile, you can come in, get the job done. They come home and it's done. Right.
And I get 2 types of people. It's interesting you say that. I get the type that the wife will say, "My husband thinks a screwdriver is a cocktail." You know, he doesn't really know what a screwdriver. She says to me, "Phillips screwdriver." He has no idea. And a lot of them will say, "I'm the handyman here." The woman.
That's funny.
You know, and which. You know, there's a lot of handy women out there, which is amazing. And but they say, you know, I have little kids. I can't do this stuff. You know, so that's that type where the husband's not handy at all. And then you get the other type, say my husband is super handy. So I'm thinking, why are you calling me? And she says, but he's got a high-powered job. He's on Wall Street. He does this. He has no time. I've been asking him for 2 years to put that thing together. Yeah. That's why you're here, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of that too. So both sides.
It's such a great niche that you've come you know, that you've, I guess, kind of fallen into.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And as you see it now, you've been doing it for 4 years.
4 years.
You see the type of projects and
incredible.
Yeah. And I know there's things that you won't work on, so we could talk about that.
I don't do like caulking and plumbing too much. I'll replace the inside of a toilet. That's about it.
Okay.
Plumbing. I don't do
faucets.
Nah.
Place faucets.
People call me and say my kitchen ceiling, you know, is falling down because we had a leak from the bathtub upstairs. Sorry, go get a plumber. You know, I can't help you with that.
Yeah.
Sheet rocking. I'm not going to do stuff like that. I don't do construction stuff. And on the other side,
no electrical, no real.
No electrical. I do.
Oh, you do.
I do.
Like you can install ceiling fans.
That I won't do.
Okay, yeah.
They're too heavy and too unwieldy for me.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I can replace a light chandelier, any kind of light fixture,
Okay.
switches, outlets, if they're existing. If they're
Right.
not existing and it requires new wiring, or you have to have a license. You have to
Right.
be a licensed electrician. I'm allowed to do like for like. That's about it.
Right. So if you have, I know my house is ancient, and we have regular outlets. So if someone wanted to get like GFI outlets, you do that kind of stuff.
Well, GFI outlets, the right way to do it, I can't do it because the right way to do a
have to
GFI,
rewire?
you have to wire it directly to the box.
I got you.
You
Okay.
can't just take out an outlet and put a GFI in. Now, if there's an existing GFI, I can replace
You
it
can
with a
do
new
that.
GFI.
Gotcha, okay, yeah.
But otherwise, the electrician's supposed to wire it directly to the circuit breaker box.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
that's all.
But light switches, light
Yeah,
electrical.
light electrical.
All right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Odd job, Bob. So how can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook under Bob Major. They can also find me on Facebook under Odd Job Bob. They can call me at 201-739-6696. Text me or call me.
Wait, let's write that again.
Yeah.
201
201-739-6696.
739.
6696.
See, and this is the beauty of doing this is that now they can see it right underneath,
Exactly.
right underneath here. They're going to be able to
Exactly.
see your number.
You can show them my card
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
everything on there.
Yeah.
I don't have a website. They can email me, but generally email I might not see till the next morning, so that's not as fast.
But they can text you on that number too.
Sure, absolutely. That's my
Okay,
cell
so
phone.
listen, reach out if you had odd jobs around the house.
That's right.
That you need done. I mean, this is the perfect guy to do it. If you need referrals, just go online because everybody loves this guy. You're obviously doing something right.
Thank you.
And I know that the people appreciate you.
Thank you.
And I certainly appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. The other thing I need to say to everybody is that the first thing people always say to me, and I'm still shocked to this day, is "Thank you for returning my call." And I'm like, what?
Isn't that just
You know,
common courtesy?
It's like, isn't it? And they say I've called 5 guys, and nobody calls me back. And I say, how can you do that? How can you be in business?
Yeah, it's
And
terrible.
I return everybody's call. And a lot of times I know when I get the text or the call that I'm not doing that job. And I still return the call.
Right.
And I'll return it and I'll even give them the name of somebody or who they might look at.
Right. Like if someone wants bigger electrical work, you could say, hey, call these
right.
guys.
Or they don't know where to go for, something wrong with their windows. And I'll say, go to Kukin's Lumber in Midland Park. And they
to
can
them.
refer you to guys that do that.
Yeah,
Put in windows, replace a door, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so you're also a nice reference point.
You have to be.
Yeah.
And that gets me business.
Yeah, exactly. But if there's anything else you need done, I'm
Exactly.
here for you.
And they always say to me,
While I have you on the phone.
They always say to me, I'll keep your name for other stuff. And they do.
Yeah.
So it's great.
So listen, it's Odd Job Bob. You can find him on Facebook. You can find him on Instagram. Bob Major. You can look him up on Facebook as well, and read the comments. I mean, everybody that's had work done by you. I mean, they have nothing but praise for you.
Thank you.
And you can tell you like people.
I do.
And that's pretty obvious because you're returning people's phone calls.
Absolutely.
And I know we've had some contractors that you reach out to them and there's nothing. There's no response.
I had many years ago, but I guess it was about 18 to 20 years ago. I think it was 18 years ago. We had a second floor put on my house, which is a ranch house when we bought it. Second floor. Pretty big job,
That's a
wouldn't
big
you say?
job. That's a big job.
I called 10 guys. Nobody called me back. Nobody.
How can they be that busy
It's incredible.
to not even give you that courtesy?
Finally, my architect said, "Try this guy." Because I called him back. I was so frustrated. I said, "What am I going to do here? I need,
I need someone to build it." Yeah.
And he finally got me somebody who came in and gave us a quote, and we said, "Okay, fine."
Yeah, because there's nobody else.
That's right. It's incredible.
You got the job.
Exactly.
Odd Job, Bob Major. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
very
coming
much.
on.
Appreciate
I
it.
wish you a great summer.
Thank you. You too.
And listen, you're going to be outside. You're going to need outdoor furniture. You're going to need that. You're going to need adjustments to the shed. You're going to need whatever you need.
Barbecue, fire pit. Call
Barbecue,
me.
fire pits, and if you're getting those trampolines, it's Trampoline Bob. How many have you done? How many would you?
Oh
think?
my God, probably I'd say a dozen at least.
dozen?
Yeah, in 4 years. Yeah, I also take them down.
Oh, you do.
You get people saying I got this rusting Hulk in the backyard.
And
Kids
what
are too big.
What do you?
Oh, I don't take it
just throw 'em
away.
out?
Like
They throw 'em out,
everybody
right?
has a junk night. So
Yeah,
I'll
so
break it into smaller pieces. Take the thing apart that they can put it out at the curb.
Oh, we might have to talk then.
Yeah.
My daughters are in their 20s now.
Oh yeah.
They're not bouncing
Oh, yeah.
anymore.
Take down swing sets too.
See that? When your
you
kids
go.
are grown,
That's
This
right.
is the guy to call because
That's right.
no one wants to mess with that, except for Odd Job Bob. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, make sure you get a hold of this guy, all right? We're going to give the number one more time. It's 201-739-6696. Odd Job Bob Major.
Thank you.
All right, be well, everybody.